Good morning, YouTube. Sarah Winstead here, bikini athlete and coach for Pro Physique. Today we are outside of Workout Anytime because it is the weekend and I try to sleep, guys. I really try to sleep. But my body is just like, nope, we're waking up. At a certain point in any sort of like contest prep or fat loss phase, sleep does start to get a little bit more affected. Luckily, I did get really good sleep last night. I was up until like 5, which is a decent amount later than I normally sleep, but it wasn't enough to get me to like the 6 a.m. to where I can go to crunch at 7. So we're here. This is why I have 2 gym memberships. And also too, like, it's helpful when you travel as well. Like, I like the Workout Anytimes if I can find one, if I do travel to an area where one is. If not, I'll travel to a crunch, and to have like the multi-club memberships and things like that. So useful tip there too. Otherwise, I'll have a gym venture and explore like a local gym too, or hotel gyms. Those also work. So anyways, I got sidetracked. Prep brain, full swing. But today is refeed day number 2. Hit a new low weigh in this morning, 112.6, guys. We're getting closer. We're chipping away. I have a feeling I'm still going to be under 110 at my first show of the season, which is totally fine. Again, I'm 5'1.5". So I have zero expectations that I've put on that much density, but we're looking good. We're feeling good. I feel good, obviously, after the first refeed day. Going into the second one today. So we've got upper body, and I promised you guys, I had a great comment from William having an upper body training day suggestion. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. Right now for the bikini division, I am training more shoulders and back. I do not currently train anything direct on my arms or my chest. But I will still go over at the end of the video some exercise ideas, and also include videos that I do send to my clients, demonstrating movements for like biceps and chest and stuff like that. So, upper body, I like keeping things simple. Like, you're going to see very simple, basic exercises that I've just gotten very good at over time, that I've challenged myself over time to get better at. So let's go ahead and get this training vlog started. First up, dumbbell Arnold press. Now, you guys have seen me do shoulder press, and this is my other shoulder exercise for complete shoulder compound movement. And so you'll notice that my elbows come in front of my body. I don't dip too low because my rotator cuff just can't take it anymore. I don't fully look out at the top. I'm sitting up nice and straight here, but it's constant tension on the shoulders. I'm still making the face, still decently intense for this set. I love Arnold press if your rotator cuff can handle it. It's a great compound shoulder exercise. This is my bread and butter. People ask me, how do I get shoulders like you? A crap ton of lateral raises with good form, not swinging the weight, good posture, gaze is up. You're focusing on moving the weight out first, then going up. I see too many people swinging, too many people shrugging. That's not going to build that density and that mass in the shoulder. And so I'm going pretty heavy here. We're making the face. It's ugly, guys. But I'm also adding in at the end here a little bit after I go to my RPE. I'm adding in some pulses. I love lateral raise pulses at the end of a set. It's kind of like a mini drop set. Really challenges that connection. It burns so good. Last shoulder exercise, rear delt machine. I love the machine for this because I can really focus on isolating the rear delts. Sometimes if I do reverse flies, another great movement, but sometimes I'll feel it more so in my back. And so I'm looking up, your chest is pressed into the pad, and I only go out to where my shoulders and my wrists meet. I don't go further than this because people have a tendency to shrug or lean forward with this if they go too far. So keeping it out of your traps, make sure it is isolating in that rear delt. This is great for people that may not have the best posture. This helps you sit up straight and really build that roundness to the shoulder. Switching over to back. So my big exercise right now is wide grip lat pull downs. I'm loving this exercise a lot.
You'll notice that I did set my scapula by rotating my shoulder blades back and down and kind of pinning them there to help with lat activation. My big cue for my clients on this one, pull with your pinkies and your elbows. This helps you focus more on the lats and less on things like biceps and sometimes even your chest that you might actually feel here too. So I am sitting up decently straight. There's limited torso movement. My gaze is up. Never do lat pull downs behind your head. It makes your posture that much worse, guys. Big tip for the day. But I am going very close to failure on this because I want to maintain my lat width for bikini. Next up, seated cable rows. I chose to show you guys this from the side because I feel like posture is very important for this. I'm pulling the cable, still pinkies and elbows cue, pulling it more so into my belly button. I find that a lot of people have terrible posture with this and they wonder why they feel it in their neck or in their traps and not in that lat thickness that we really want to see here. Again, still having some torso movement, allowing the shoulders to rotate forward, but I'm not over exaggerating the movement by incorporating other muscle groups in this movement. Secondary muscle here is going to be some biceps as well. You'll see that towards the end. And then again, we are gazes up. I'm always about having that gaze up and that chest up to help with your posture. Last exercise of the workout. I call these cable pull-throughs. There's probably called different things, but being an ex-swimmer, I do these very well, and these remind me of just like doing them with bands all day long when I was a swimmer. So I like the tricep rope for this because I can spread things out a little bit more. Thinking about the pinkies here, you'll notice that my grip starts to wane, and I'm going to change my grip here in a second to be more on the edge, and so that way I can wrap my hands around the rope a little bit better. That way you're pulling it down first through towards the quads, and you should see right above that sports bra, that lat width there. It's very important to hit that versus using momentum. You're going to hit your triceps.
All right, guys, so you just saw my upper body training. So mainly shoulders and back, like I mentioned, for the bikini division. That's what I'm training under the guidance of my coach and my own just like playing around with the routines and stuff like that as well. You'll notice it's pretty basic. There's not a lot of fanciness in there. I've been doing the same or similar workout routine with the same similar exercises. Order has changed a little bit sometimes depending upon what I'm focusing on, what I'm growing, what I'm maintaining. But for the most part, like, it doesn't really change much. And I know some people can say sometimes too, like, oh, doesn't that get boring? And I'm just like, no, it doesn't, because I'm training hard, I'm training heavy, I'm giving my best effort, I'm challenging myself. It's ugly. Obviously with the overhead press, you saw me doing Arnold press because the other bench was taken. I do have my switch outs when machines are taken, when things are a little more crowded at the gym. I have my ideas around that. Sorry, she's per usual. She's right there. So, but I do have my basics as far as like what works. The basics work. We get good at them. We get efficient at them. You can add in things like drop sets, like you saw the pulses for my lateral raises, to continue to get that zip and that burn and, feel the mind muscle connection, feel the squeeze, but basic works, guys. And so if you are bored with your training, you can change it. I do change my clients' training routines every 8, 10, 12 weeks or so. I get their feedback on kind of like, okay, how's this feeling? How's this feeling? Do we want to change from cable to dumbbell or dumbbell to barbell, or change on an exercise entirely to shift our focus a little bit? And maybe like, okay, I'm satisfied with how my bicep or tricep training is going. Let's take out some arm for a little bit and focus more on like chest or back or something like that as well. And I'm happy to do those kinds of things. And obviously I am staying up to date on things like what is new in the research, new movements. Like I do incorporate something like Brett Contreras's glute medius hip thrust with the plate. That's something newer that I've done over the years. Crossover cable kickbacks. I do try out new things, and if they work for me or work for my clients, if they bring something new to me as well, I'm always down to try something different. But it doesn't need to be a new program, a new round of exercises every single week and stuff like that as well. And so, because it can be exciting to be like, okay, I've got like, heavy, hip thrusts today or something like that. For me, that's tomorrow. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna get my 405, man. I'm gonna see if I can get 5, maybe 6. But if I can't get 6, I'm gonna really squeeze the shit out of that 5th rep. And those kind of like mini goals for ourselves can help make training even more exciting and stuff like that. Because a lot of us that do get into this sport, or even just living the lifestyle of a bodybuilder, or just like health and fitness in general, we tend to come from a gym background, from being athletes in the gym, from maybe playing sports at some point, or just always, the gym's always been there. Like, no matter, for me, like I was a swimmer and a gymnast, like this gym's always been there for me. I've always been, progressing towards some sort of either sports or performance or strength based, or now it's more about like the physique look for what bikini is and what the criteria is. And so, we do shift over time, but for me, like I can still remember in 2019 doing lateral raises because I wanted to grow my shoulders, and it still works. I may do cable ones, I may do dumbbell ones, but it's pretty simple and stuff like that. And so I think sometimes people do make training a little bit too complicated, or I think they need to do like a ton of volume. I think the key for a lot of people is the intensity, which, at least for my guys, they're just like, let's freaking go. But even they have to learn sometimes too what that, sweet spot is for them, because they may go into more of the ego side of things, as far as like, ooh, I want to lift super, super heavy, but, I'm swinging. This is the thing I see a lot. I'm swinging my whole body on bicep curls to get the bar up. And I'm like, you're not doing a bicep curl anymore. You're doing hip thrust. So, but stuff like that. And then my ladies, I promise you'll not get bulky. I've been trying to get bulky for over 10 years. It hasn't worked. I've only gotten stronger. I've shaped my physique over time. And so, and not being afraid to push it, out of your comfort zone, especially with things like upper body. A lot of people, a lot of clients, a lot of, gym people ask me, well, how do I get your shoulders? And I'm like, do you see how heavy I go? Do you see how hard I train on my upper body days? Like, there was a point where I was overhead pressing 50 pounds each side for 5 to 8 reps. That was back when I was really trying to grow my upper body. My feedback was, you're good. I'm like, great, we're going to back off. I don't need to do the 50s anymore, because it was very hard to get up, very hard on my rotator cuff and stuff like that. But that was needed for me to stimulate the growth to grow my shoulders, along with, I'm still doing 20s on lateral raises. Like, that's insane to me, and stuff like that. And so, not being afraid of that, not being afraid of challenging yourself. We don't have to look pretty in the gym, ladies, because I guarantee you, if you're smiling throughout the entire set, it looks really, really weird. And so, sorry, she's stretching, and then I think we're going to replop. So yeah, it's, there is no like secret sauce as it is. I think the secret sauce is really comes down to your training intensity and how hard that you train, making sure you are taking your rest days seriously, make sure you are recovering, making sure you are eating things like adequate protein, that you are, strategic about things like your carb timing, your energy, your meal timing, and what works for you, and what you work best in and stuff like that. So, and a couple other of my like upper body favorites for, for me when I was training it, and also for my clients as well. If you're training things like chest, I love a good, dumbbell bench press, barbell bench press, incline bench press, both dumbbell and barbell, as well. If you can't get a spotter, use a Smith machine, just load it up. That's an easy way to get it to where, if you don't have a spotter, you can use one of those apparatuses. I love things like dual cable chest flies, like low to high and then high to low to hit both upper and lower chest. For that, I really focuses on a lot on the squeeze as well, as far as like making sure that we are warming up properly, as goes with anything really. If you're trying to grow a lagging body part, making sure you are really squeezing it, that you are, hitting it optimally and things like that too. So not just going through the motions. Some of my other ones, and again, if I have video demonstrations, I'll put them in here alongside when I'm talking about the exercises. Obviously things like biceps and triceps, I'd love a strict bicep curl, barbell curl. The machine as well can be helpful, but sometimes, like for me, I'm short. I can't do the bicep curl machine, or even plate loaded, because the range of motion is different. And so, so that's bicep curls. And then triceps, I love a tricep extension. I don't particularly do a lot of overhead programming for my clients. Why is that? Well, a lot of us exhibit upper, head forward syndrome, basically. And so like we're a little bit rolled forward. So that means our chest is tight and we have maybe weak,
trapeziuses and things like that as well back there as well. And so I find that if I am doing like an overhead, like behind the head cable extension, I find that if my clients are like, again, already hunching forward when they're doing it, you may not get the most out of it, and it may make what you have structurally a little bit worse. So I still a little bit stay away from that. Again, it depends upon the client. If someone is excelling in that and they send me a video and it's like, yeah, let's do it. I do look at training videos from my clients a lot and give them feedback and give them cues and send them video demonstrations. That's a very big key in what I do for my clients as well. And evaluating that, because again, I'm not there when you're training. I wish I was. I wish I was still an in-person trainer for all of my clients, and I could be right there next to them, cheering them on and helping them with like form and stuff like that. But I can't. That's why we have videos. That's also why I don't do like the standing cable or like the dumbbell behind the head either, because I find that sometimes it does lean my clients forward a little bit too much. Could put strain on the neck. We don't really want that either. So I like, oh my gosh, what is it? French press, or is it skull crushers? I like skull crushers. It's a more fun name. I think French press is like the lady version, is what my old personal training director told me, but I don't really know. Anyways, I like those because one works a short head, one works a long head of the tricep. And so we definitely need that. And then, so yeah, it hits chest, arms, you saw shoulders, and you saw back. So that's like the main meat and potatoes. Obviously, building your training program for upper body, I always put the muscle group for upper body that I'm trying to grow first in my programming, and put a compound of that movement. So for example, shoulders is always an overhead movement. If it's my guys and we're trying to grow chest, we're going to do a horizontal press movement first. If it's trying to go back, it's going to be a vertical pull movement first. And so adding that in first, and then, you can experiment with like a push pull exercise, alternating in this session. Or for me, again, what I found that works best is that I go through all of my shoulders and I go through all of my back, because it gets warm and I don't want to lose that pump or lose that connection, especially if you're dieting as well. You'll notice that your pumps tend to go away a little bit quicker. So yeah. And then there was a while there too, where I was really trying to grow like the shape of the delt. And so I put lateral raises first. And then I went into, because it really activated the shoulders for me. And then I went into my compound. I've done that before sometimes for hip thrusts, as far as like, I may put hip thrust second. I may do like elevated glute bridges or step downs, or, abductions first or something like that before I go in hip thrusts. Like some of my clients do that as far as like an activation movement. I've seen that program before. And so it's about finding what you feel best, what you feel progress in, and what you can be successful with, and what you can progressively overload, i.e. add weight, sets, reps, volume, range of motion, time under tension, intensity over time. So time is the biggest factor, guys. As you've heard me say before, it takes a whole lot longer to build muscle than it does to lose body fat. And so what you're doing right now, if you are in a maintenance or an improvement season or a growing phase, what you're doing now is setting yourself up for future dieting phases and stuff like that. So I wish you guys all the best. I'm going to end the video here because little Miss Una is nicely asleep. So, and I've got check-ins to finish. I got my core burn over here waiting to be finished and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed filming this video for you guys. If you guys have any questions about training, drop them below. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. You guys know what to do. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.